then 8 right into 8 left.
Tuesday, April 25th, 2006. Anzac Day, Launceston, Tasmania. Here, like every town and city across the country, the thinning ranks of diggers gather once more to remember the fallen. Across town, the day holds significance, but for a very different reason. It marks the beginning of the 15th running of Targa Tasmania, the ultimate tarmac rally. 241 cars and crews are entered in this year's event. They leave from Launceston's Country Club Casino. The field is diverse as ever, ranging from a 90-year-old Ford T-model Speedster right up to the latest offerings from Porsche and Lamborghini. No matter what the car, the aim is the same for each and every crew: cover the competitive stages in the shortest time possible. Each of the event's 44 Targa stages has a set base time. Finish within that time and there's no penalty. Outside the base time and the penalty time begins to accrue. The team with the least penalty time at the end of the 44th stage will win. Seven-time Bathurst winner Jim Richards is a Targa Tasmania institution. He and navigator Barry Oliver have conspired to win the event no fewer than 7 times, but it's been a couple of years since Jim tasted victory.
There's not many events around the world that are like this. So the facts are that, I mean, it has some great stretches of road, and we get to drive on them as fast as we like. So basically that's it in a nutshell.
The defending champions are locals, Jason and John White. 2006 sees the pair in a new and exotic set of wheels. The Nissan GTR they campaigned successfully last year is gone, replaced by an all-wheel drive V10 Lamborghini Gallardo.
Not like the Skyline where you sort of felt like you're in a bit of a lounge room, but no, it's really good to drive.
Peter Brock is back for 206 after a year's hiatus. His familiar Hold Monaro discarded in favour of a replica Daytona coupe.
Well, it's a strange thing, but it's got Monaro engine, Monaro brakes, Monaro gearbox and diff and steering column and brake bits and pieces. So it's familiar territory to a large degree, but probably about 350 kilos lighter. So it's a pretty lively car.
Snapping at the heels of the big names come a raft of possible contenders. Last year's second place getter Greg Garwood in a turbo Porsche is a legitimate chance, as are the factory-backed entries from rally giants Mitsubishi and Subaru. The opportunity to put the pack in some kind of order comes at Georgetown's Tempco Prologue, scene for the Targa version of qualifying.
Targa is one of the greatest road rallies in the world, and we're down at Prologue. The Prologue is a 4K squirt around the streets of Georgetown and is designed to determine seeding or starting orders for the start of competition, which is tomorrow. Starting order will be in reverse, which means that the vehicle that puts in the fastest time today will start last in the field and the slowest first. So let's go and have a look at Georgetown.
Veteran racer John Lawson has dominated the historic race in recent years. His 38 Alpha, again easily quickest through Georgetown.
We're really looking forward to it. We love it. I got beaten last year when I blew the clutch out of the Amel car, so I don't know. We'll have plenty of fun, don't worry.
New South Wales farmer Bill Pye has a point to prove in 2006. He was cruising to victory in the classic competition last year, only to be slapped with a 10-minute time penalty late on the final day for speeding. His 76 Porsche sets the fastest classic prologue time.
I hope we can win Targa Classic this year, and Well, I believe I won it last year, but this time we hopefully go home with the gong.
Part of the changing face of Targa Tasmania is the growing interest from big factory-backed teams. This year, both Mitsubishi and Subaru have sent 40-man support crews to back their entries. The weight of expectation is heavy.
You've got to discipline yourself and drive the cars a lot straighter. And one of the things going to be the big challenge for us to learn about during the weekend is tyre conservation. I mean, we've got one set of tyres, and if we take any more, we'll get penalties, and something I've never been used to in any rally that I've done before.
I think last week I was having a look at the entry, and I thought really there's 10 people that could win this, and certainly any of those 10 could mix and match the podium. So it's certainly the strongest since I've been doing it.
On the road, just 1 second separates the cars, Subaru pipping Mitsubishi. A rocky start for defending champions Jason and John White, managing only 11th fastest in the Lamborghini.
I think after that practice run we would have liked to have another crack at it. I reckon we could probably go a few seconds quicker.
Peter Brock does enough to place the Daytona Coupe in 6th, despite a fading brake pedal.
Geez, the brakes went soggy halfway through there.
That was my first drive in the car, really. I thought it felt pretty well balanced, put the power down well. It was an unspectacular run, but I don't think it was particularly slow. I think it was probably a reasonable time.
2006 is a big year for Tasmanian Greg Garwood. Runner-up last year after a slow start, he's aiming to hit the ground running.
Just trying hard. Certainly a lot harder than last year, and just you can't stop the car when it's in the air still, so it's pretty rough through the car park, which I knew, and we was having a dip, so when it landed it was nearly time to stop.
Unaffected by the drama, Jim Richards calmly blitzes the field, setting the quickest time by a massive 4 seconds.
To be honest, in the car we've got, it's a fantastic car, but it's definitely, you know, a dry weather car. If we've got rain, we really won't feature that well, I don't think, because too much power and not enough drive for the front wheels.
Although only two-wheel drive, Richard's twin-turbo Porsche GT2 is a rocket. If the roads stay dry, he'll be almost impossible to beat. After the break, we get down to Targa proper, and a Smoky appears to challenge Gentleman Jim.
Monday night equals
In 3, Holden made its biggest ever tilt at Targa Tasmania.
Oh.
It all came to an embarrassing end, both cars running out of fuel mid-stage.
Hey, I've had it. Nothing's good. It must be out of petrol.
Reach 2 to 3?
No, it's out of juice. What's going on?
After dominating the Australian off-road rally scene for the past decade, Subaru shocked the racing fraternity with its announcement to pull out of the National Rally Championship this year. The reason, to put more resources into tarmac events, into Dean Herridge and his factory-backed Impreza WRX STI Spec C.
what we've got is we've got a couple of key technicians, some of our managers, and the entourage you'll see later is a lot of the people from the various departments in Subaru who either bring their clients or some of their staff along to hear us tell the story of Targa, you might say.
Heritage himself no stranger to big events, finishing third in last year's ARC, and although he's more used to driving on the dirt, the expectations he placed on himself for Targa are high.
I obviously want to do the best job I can, and that make sure we've done our notes properly and commit to the notes and run through. But a fair bit of strategy involved in this event, as I said to you before, and we're going to have to learn that on the run and be smart about it. But looking forward, it should be great.
The route for day one takes the field on a loop west from Launceston to Devonport, then return. There are 8 competitive stages, but only 3 likely to cost the top teams time: Devonport, Nook and Sheffield.
Most of the quick cars, they'll all clear the stages up until lunchtime, then which is at Devonport. Then we head from Devonport back to Launceston with some really challenging stages.
The morning stages are a chance for crews to shake out a few nerves, and there's always someone who gets caught up in the excitement. A key element to success in any form of rallying is the chemistry between driver and navigator. Peter Burry, a veteran of 13 Targas, is calling the corners for Russell Kempich.
7 left and 10 left on crest. 7 left, 10 left on crest, and a crest straight 100. Then 7 left, crest air, and 7 right.
Sitting alongside Bathurst legend Peter Brock, Mike Hone's finding out just what it's like to jump in the deep end.
Right 5, left 5, into right, is it a right 4? Yeah. Right 4, right 4 into a left 5.
I am a first timer. It's all new to me, so it's pretty exciting. I'm very lucky to have Peter as a good driver. He covers the little mistakes I make as a navigation, but you know, each stage I understand better, and you know, we didn't do a lot of recce, so it's all new. But you know, it's a pretty good car, a great driver, and I'm seeing a lot of good country.
We haven't got notes for all the stages, but when he's calling them, he is so definite, and if there's a tight hairpin coming up, he says it about 6 times because he knows I'm still flat in the throttle, and I can hear his voice go up an octave each time he says it. But I get the message, so it's pretty good.
Classic competition in Targa Tasmania is all about cars built between 1947 and 81. The V8 grunt of Detroit heavy iron trading punches with the quick and nimble Euro Sportsters. Day one is throwing up the contenders. Victorian Peter Eames in a 76 Carrera is quickest through the Devonport stage. Bill Pye hits back on Nook, clocking the fastest time. Then Mike Batten in a Volvo trumps them both on Sheffield, winning the stage and the lead at day's end. 20 seconds covers the top 5 classic teams. The modern contenders all negotiate the morning stages without incident. Devonport gives the first indication of early speed. Jim Richards and Jason White both clean the stage, earning no time penalty. South Australian racehorse trainer and ARC privateer Steve Glennie emerges as the sleeper in the pack, clocking the 3rd fastest time. Peter Brock manages 9th, Greg Garwood recovering from his prologue off his 10th
left,
quickest.
50, 7 left. 7 left into, into flat crest straight. Flat, come on, trust me. Then short 8 left.
8 left,
yep. 200. Short 9 right at the sign.
9 right.
Yep, then 6 left.
Richards and Brock go clean on the next stage, Nook. Glennie proves his early speed is no fluke, 3rd quickest again. At a tick over 13 Ks, Sheffield is the 2nd longest stage of the day, and loose bitumen makes the road surface slippery and unpredictable.
10 right on brow, out into 6 right, into 6 right, into 8 left over crest,
Apparently the perfect conditions for Steve Glennie and his Subaru. He sets the quickest time, 5 seconds faster than Jim Richards. Fellow rally aces Warwick Rooklyn and Dean Herridge also post good runs, 3rd and 5th respectively.
The left 5.5 straight, left 5 straight into a right 5.5.
Jason White in the Lambo manages 4th, but there are already signs the car isn't happy.
It's got to be oil dripping down that fast. I was scared I was just going to fry it. Yeah. What's going on with the ABS? Don't know. That's switched off? Yeah, I turned it off. Falling apart. Yeah.
The final stage of the day is a 3K squirt around the streets of Longford, always a highlight. With the day's key stages completed, there's a surprise at the top of the Delta Hydraulics leaderboard. Jim Richards leads, no surprise there, but alongside, sharing top spot, South Australian Subaru campaigner Steve Glennie. Jason White is 3rd in the Lamborghini, 14 seconds adrift. Now look at all the day one action on the Subaru highlight reel.
Well done, first overtake.
After the break, order up one flaming Lamborghini and you're invited to the $400,000 barbecue. Dick Johnson's one man who's had several unsuccessful attempts at the event.
Parked wrongly.
Day 2 takes the field from Launceston to the state's east coast, then south to Hobart. 9 Targa stages total almost 75 kilometres of competitive driving. The day's longest stage is also the first and one of the event's toughest, the sidling.
We're at the start of the first stage of the day, which is the great stage of the sidling. Some 14 Ks of lots of bends, lots of fast across the top, and then skirting down the other side. We've got plenty of fog here. It's going to be thick across the top, which is the fast section. Let's see what happens today. It's day 2. We love it. It's Targa. All the best into Hobart.
Richards and Glennie remain locked together after the sidling, posting identical fastest times.
7 left opens and tightness for 6 minus. 7 opens and tightness for 6 minus.
The big move comes from South Australian Kevin Weeks in the ex-Stuart Appleby Lamborghini, matching the top time. The remaining morning stages have a similar theme. Jim Richards setting the pace with the chasing pack slowly disappearing in the rear vision mirror.
I actually thought it might come back, but I just left the road and then we went ploughing from then on. A bit late on the power. We've ended up coming in backwards, which is probably the safest way.
Tried to correct it and over-corrected, so we fishtailed a fair bit up the road and down we came.
In the Shannon's Classic comp, Ian Morris is a man on the move. His V6 Alpha picking up a couple of spots over the morning stages, 3rd by day's end. Out in front, Bill Pye is building on his slender lead. 2nd place belongs to Peter Ulrich in his beautifully turned out Jensen's CV8, just under 1 minute off the lead. After the second stage of the day, Warwick Rookland's factory-backed Mitsubishi is up to third outright.
50. Left 5. Then left 5 clip.
The pace on the road is hot. Jason White is bettering his winning times from last year, but it's still not enough.
I reckon we're probably 20-25 seconds quicker to this point than we were last year, so that's probably a good thing. But I think Jim and a few others have really sort of made some inroads since last year as well, so they're going that little bit quicker. So we are quicker than we were last year, so that's all that we could hope for at this stage.
In the other Lambo, Kevin Weeks is flying, second fastest behind Richards on the St Mary's Pass stage. Then on a leisurely transport stage before lunch, disaster.
Oh, thing is hose. Oh, come on!
Well, we just drove along and we felt fuel. We smelt fuel, and then all of a sudden it just went bang. Lucky my guys were behind and just caught on fire. Hey, we no idea. It was obviously a fuel leak.
How had it been going?
Terrific. Yeah, we were. It was going very well today.
The fire is terminal. The car is uninsured. Of the afternoon stages, only the final one, Grasstree Hill, is likely to cost time, and it's here that Peter Brock gets things going. The Daytona Coupe clocking the fastest time, 2 seconds ahead of Jim Richards.
The car felt terrific, and the call went well, and he drove it, really good, and we did the quickest time. So the car's got good potential, but it's just hard to get it together every stage.
Time to check all the Day 2 action with the Subaru Highlights Reel.
Five left, you with me?
Yes, thanks, Pete.
Oh, come on!
One big name in Targa this year is former motorcycle legend Daryl Beattie, who in 1995 came within a whisker of immortality.
Sport needs some adrenaline in my body. I've always enjoyed car racing, but really never had the opportunity to do it. And being at 10 and motorsport, it's kind of given me a chance to do this, and hopefully after this, do a few more every year.
Beattie and navigator Scott Young finished the day in 15th position.
Really gives you a great challenge here. It's certainly pure Tasmania. Left?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the girl.
Over the next 2
Motorsport without a bit of biffo, and in 15 years, Targa's seen plenty. Here's a selection of the greatest hits. A check of the Delta Hydraulics leaderboard shows John and Andrew Lawson runaway leaders in the Unique Cars historic competition. Their lead over 6 minutes back to the 36 Ford of Graham and Pat Kent, with John Felder's Oakland 8 a minute further back. In the Unique Cars Classic Sprint competition, West Australian Stephen Bruce in a 67 Mini leads Simon Froud's Porsche, with James Powell Davies running third in a 77 BMW Alpina. Bill Pye's got a handy 57-second break over Peter Ulrich in the Shannon's Classic comp. Ian Morris is third, but it's tight. Only 18 seconds separates second to fifth. In the DriveTravel.com modern competition, Richards and Oliver lead. 12 seconds, the buffer back to Steve Glennie. Warwick Rookland is third, Peter Brock sixth, And Jason White is the big loser of the day, down from 3rd to 8th. Day 3 of competition, the shortest of the event. Crews travel south down the Huon Valley on a return loop to Hobart. 8 stages with a total competitive distance of 59 kilometres. The day begins on Hobart's historic waterfront.
This is a great day. We circle to Hobart and come back to Hobart. And we're at a stage of the event that drivers are now looking for seconds. Every second counts. We're going to watch from now on our tyre usage. Very important. This is not a sprint rally, it's an endurance rally. Sunshine, glistening water, this is great.
Howden is the first of the day's time-critical stages. If the rally-bred rice burners were hoping to see a chink in the Porsche armour, they're sorely disappointed. Richards again quickest, ahead of Queenslander Tony Quinn and another of Stuttgart's finest. Steve Glennie can only manage 8th. It's been a long night for the defending champs. Jason White swapping his driving suit for overalls as a new clutch is fitted to the Lamborghini. The work seems to have paid off, but Gallardo's times are much more competitive over the morning stages.
Right 6, left 6. Then it's left 5 after that crest. Then left 6. Then left 5.5. Then left 5, straight into a right 5, point to a 4.5.
It's been a good morning for second place Steve Glennie, picking up 2 seconds on Richards to trail by just 10 at the lunch stop.
Hopefully we haven't lost too much today and we can just keep in touch, then that's the aim. The tyres are okay, yeah, no, they're hanging in there. The first couple of days they tend to sort of lose a bit more than the last few, so hopefully they'll hang in there.
If Glennie was worried about tyre wear, he didn't show it, pushing on hard at every stage, sometimes too hard. Former bike racer Darryl Beattie is having a good morning, getting the feel for his car and trying to improve on his 15th place.
Today I've sort of gone about a bit survival mode, some funny little sections I think you can screw up on and not really make a lot of time or lose a lot of time. So it's been just a bit of a cautious day to get through and then think about the 2 heading home. But you know, it's been a good morning.
Beattie finding out just how easy it is to fall off the road on the very next stage after lunch, Signet.
Into left 4, immediate left 2.5.
That's it.
That's it.
We just obviously overcooked the turn. I felt like we were okay, and then obviously it was my notes that said it did tighten, and just got in there a little too hot and pushed it. We slid it along the grass for a while. I actually thought we were going to pull it off, and then just rolled down the embankment. Well, it didn't roll, but slid down the embankment. Very light impact, and if they were all that smooth, it'd be all right.
After feeling his way over the first couple of days, Ray Vandersea, the Skelter G-Force, a car that he built himself, signals his arrival on Ridgeway Park, the final stage of the day. The Skelter takes the stage win and holds 4th place overall. 2 seconds behind Richards for the day, Warwick Rooklyn has consolidated 3rd place and still has a real chance to mount a challenge over the final stages.
50. Left 5.
We made changes. We're all starting to work together well, and we've got a long way to go in that as a team. And it takes a while so that everyone get to understand each other. I'm starting to understand the car better now, and I think it's I'm surprised, very happily surprised.
Steve Glennie dropped 12 seconds in the afternoon stages, suspension problems slowing his progress.
This morning was good. We had a good run. Then after lunch, for some reason, the suspension just seized up and we lost all the friction, all the movement in it. So lost a bit of time this afternoon, but I think we're not too far behind.
22 seconds is the gap to Jim Richards. Not quite enough, according to the 7-time champion.
A good day, yes. No, we had a good run. Yeah, pick up a little time here and there, so no, it was good. We just do the same as we've been doing. We go as fast as we can on the stages, whether it's wet, whether it's dry. Another 2 days to go, see what happens.
Subaru highlights now, and not for the first time in his career, Darryl Beattie is the feature.
That's it.
to the break, can anyone stop Jim Richards' charge and the Porsche, which almost sank?
Big show coming.
Who lines up. In the inaugural event of 1992, Sterling Moss, Denny Holm and Sir Jack Brabham all drove the event.
Butman was right there in front of you. Yeah.
Other famous faces have included F1 commentator Murray Walker, golfing pro Stuart Appleby and game show host Glenn Ridge. And who could forget five-time motorcycle world champ Mick Doohan's crack at the event in 2001. It ended on day 4. This year, day 4 started in the worst possible way. Always popular with spectators, the Domain in downtown Hobart is the day's first stage, and this year, like any other, saw hundreds line the twisty and at times slippery suburban circuit. But the stage was quickly downgraded after this sickening incident, which left 3 spectators in hospital. The investigations to follow would force a rethink on the way Targa is run in the future. Day 4 is where Targa Tasmania starts to test the skill and concentration of the drivers, with crews travelling from Hobart to the northwest Tasmanian city of Burnie. On the way, 110 kilometres of competitive driving spread over 10 stages, including the longest of the event so far, Sathana. With blue skies again the order of the day, Jim Richards and Barry Oliver continue to power through the morning stages of day 4. The two-wheel drive Porsche making the most of the dry and warm Tasmanian roads to record an incident-free day. Richards making the event look all too easy, but his competitors have their share of worries. Mechanical problems again hampered Jason White, the clutch in his Lamborghini having a mind of its own.
Oh, clutch stayed on the floor. Ah, no.
In the last one, Mole Creek, we got about 3 or 4k into it and went to change gears, and our beloved clutch reared its ugly head with its dramas again, and the pedal stayed on the floor, so we just freewheeled along for a couple hundred metres, and I managed to peel it off the floor with my toes and got it back out, but got the pedal back off the floor, but the clutch wouldn't actually re-engage, and it slowly re-engaged and slowly got some drive back.
Peter Brock's Daytona Coupe is also having drive problems, making it hard work for the Bathurst champ.
Good. Left 6, then right 6. Left 8 twice.
Something happened to the gear selection, and the last 3 stages I got top gear only. So I can tell you as a driver, it's quite a challenge to sort of pick a line through a corner, which is normally a second gear corner, and you're in like top gear, you're going blub, 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 and you're just pottering through. But you know, we only lost a few seconds, so it's quite surprising, really.
As always, the day's later stages of Sathana, South Rihanna and Rattone take their toll on the field.
Sensational start for the afternoon. Sathana's a 37-kilometre. We really have to get into a rhythm for that one. Then one of the other highlights, Guns, Plains, Rihanna. It's all great. It's all very, very testing, not only on the crew but the car. This is where what we've really come for is to do afternoon of day 4.
Last year's second place getter Greg Garwood is having a quiet Targa, happy to preserve his tyres for a charge at the end. That charge beginning on Sathana.
Then 5 left.
No brakes.
5, okay.
No brakes.
That's right, 6 left. Into 1 right. You got no brakes, they're going to push it.
Doesn't matter, keep going.
All right. Then 6 left.
The dry conditions of the event have started to take their toll on the four-wheel drives, with tyre wear now a major problem. Glennie continues to preserve what little tread is left on his Subaru, and that means dropping more time to Richards.
We lost time to Jim again, I think. I haven't seen the scores, but yeah, I'd say he probably pushed away from us. I think the tyres, the way they are, the rain might hurt us again. So I think first place is a long shot, given the state of Jim's tyres and where we're at. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Contender Dean Herridge and the factory-backed STI Impressor simply has nothing left.
The tyres that we had on the front and we thought we were preserving started to delaminate, basically. And when we swapped them to the back after the long stage, the car was like driving a forklift, basically, and it started to peel rubber off, and we've had to take 2 new tyres. So 4-minute penalty associated with that.
Team Subaru's decision to take 2 new tyres, putting him out of the top 10, while the Mitsubishi of Warwick Rooklyn, which was sitting in 3rd heading into day 3, also loses time, but is still a contender despite little in the way of tread.
Sathana was quick in the dry. We were tapping out in 5th gear like a few times there, and I go, whoa, well, this is really quick. So it's all pretty exciting and getting a few jumps and stuff at 5th gear. And so it's a pretty entertaining day.
Ray Vandersey's dream Targa is getting even better, matching Richards on the longer stages of the day and beating the rally-bred rivals around him. His carbon fibre skelter force on the move. In the Shannon's Classic, trouble for Bill Pye. Day 4 cost him his minute lead after he stopped to assist a fellow driver after an accident. Once again, he'll be at the mercy of Targa officials after applying for derived time. Time to check the Subaru highlights reel. Check of the Delta Hydraulics leaderboard now. With only 1 day of competition remaining, Jim Richards and Barry Oliver have increased their lead over Steve Glennie to 43 seconds. Ray Vandersey is a minute back in 3rd. Despite Jason White's troubles, he's jumped into 4th place, needing to make up more than 2 minutes if he's going to defend his title. In Classic, Bill Pye is back to 4th until a decision is made on his dramas, which puts Peter Ulrich in the lead by just 6 seconds over Peter Eames. Positions remain unchanged in the Unique Cars Classic Sprint competition. Stephen Bruce extending his lead to 1 minute 20 over Simon Froud. James Powell Davies a further 2 minutes behind. While John Lawson has only to finish to take out the historic section of the event, holding a 15-minute lead over Graham and Pat Kent.
And you've got a long 9 left after it, off the gas. I have never had so much fun in Sathana. Well driven. Love it, love it. That's pure Tasmania stage for you. That's Sathana, and that's 37 kilometres of great driving.
Finishes which have gone down to the wire and deep into day 5 of competition. In '95, Australian rally driver Neil Bates began the manufacturer's interest in the event, driving his factory-backed Toyota Celica to an outright win. Jim Richards began his amazing run of success the following year, winning the event 3 years in a row before not competing in 1999 and allowing Peter Fitzgerald to continue the Porsche domination. Richards returned to win the event another 4 times in a row until the Subaru of Tony Sullins in 2004 was fastest on a wet day 5. Last year, Jason White just held off a fast-finishing Greg Garwood to win the event. An amazing 6 seconds separating the two at the finish line after 5 days of competition. Day 5 is the toughest by far. It's often wet and includes some of the hardest stages in the event. In 2006, Jim Richards holds a lead, but anything can happen.
Traditionally, you get a lot of wet weather, and even last year on Arrowsmith there was snow. Today the clouds are high, light, a little bit of cloud, but nothing really going to worry us. So it's going to be a good one for those cars that have got good, strong legs. It's a day of long stages that suits those cars that are still in good nick and can get up to the high speeds that are needed on such stages as Strawn and Arrowsmith. The last 4 days have been, as Dean Herridge said, played like a game of chess at 200 kilometres an hour. Positions have changed, seconds only separate a lot of cars in the top 10, and today is going to sort out the final result when we get down to Hobart.
Beginning its twist and turn down Tasmania's rugged west coast, Targa stages Hellyer Gorge, Mount Black, Rosebery and Strawn are all a test as the road never really dries. Mount Arrowsmith is the longest stage of the event at 47 kilometres. It's where Targa can be won or lost. The remaining 3 stages are relative breeze as the cars arrive back at Rest Point in Hobart. But Rest Point is not on the mind of any of the crews lining up at Hellyer Gorge, particularly Queensland pet food providor Tony Quinn. 3 times he started day 5 in a solid position, 3 times he's crashed out. Unbelievably, the day 5 hoodoo strikes again. The Scot will be hitching a ride in a tow truck back to the after party. The real story starts to unfold around lunchtime. Second place holder Steve Glennie is still within striking distance, but he's extracted everything he can from his tyres. Targa officials force him to change 3 of them, effectively ending his event, a victim of one of the driest Targas on record. It allows Jim Richards to increase his lead, his 2-wheel drive Porsche fastest on 4 of the 5 morning stages. Glennie's withdrawal also opens up podium positions, particularly as the Mitsubishi of Warwick Brooklyn also struggles with tyre wear, dropping back through the field.
Then left 4 into care, sharp left 3, early turn in.
With his Targa going from good to great, Ray Vandersea finds himself in 2nd position. Jason White is elevated to 3rd, just 2 minutes behind Richards at the Queenstown lunch stop. And with the weather starting to threaten rain, anything is possible heading into Mount Arrowsmith. Had the Lamborghini run to its potential and not experienced the clutch problems which plagued it from day 1, things could have turned out differently. However, Mount Arrowsmith cost Jason White the chance to take time from Richards' lead. Strange noises from the engine means he has to nurse the car through the monster 47-kilometre stage, dropping another minute to the front runners. Fellow Tasmanian Greg Garwood is having suspension issues. A front left shock absorber let go on Strawn, but he still manages to clean the stage and leapfrog Jason White to grab 3rd place.
4 left here, into flat 10 right, 100, go, trust me. 10 right, 50. 7 left. 7 left down the bottom.
Doug Walker's had an interesting time in Targa. This is last year. This is this year.
Right, 6. Whoa, 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 whoa! Switch it off. You okay?
Yeah, I slowed down as well. Oh.
He says he'll be back next year. With the finish line almost in sight, the Skelter experiences its first problem of the event. A broken axle forcing Vandersea to withdraw and bringing to an end the fairy tale debut of the Skelter.
We put a stone through the boot on the CV joint on the axle, and we threw out all the grease, of course, and then the axle. The axle eventually, we thought it might last to the finish, but the axle eventually chopped out and stopped driving. So
The rain Jim Richards' rivals had been praying so hard for in the first 4 days finally came, but all too late. Richards cruising to his 8th and best Targa Tasmania win, the first man to take out the event in a two-wheel drive car since 1993.
This one feels better than any of them because the competition was probably harder. It was tighter the whole event, and of course every morning we woke up, if it had been wet, we wouldn't have won. So you know, we had a little bit of wet at the end of day 5, but fortunately we had enough of a gap that we could sort of maintain that lead.
Greg Garwood showed last year's efforts were no fluke, again perfecting his final day charge to steal second.
I feel it was pretty good after a fairly slow start, but we worked really hard today together. Drove the wheels off the car, and just a bit sad that we cleaned some stages. Might have got us a little bit close, but no, we're really happy.
While defending champions Jason and John White held on for a gutsy third.
We could have been one better at one stage today, but it appears an actual lump of tar led us to the impression that we had a flat tyre, and we sort of wasted too much time before we realised what the problem was. But mate, if you had said 3 days ago that we were going to be in 3rd position on the podium, I'd have told you were dreaming.
Former touring car champ Tony Longhurst had an impressive drive to finish 4th, while our man Peter Burry guided driver Russell Kempnich to 5th.
100 to the flying finish. Okay, well done, and that is Targa 2006. A great thanks to our service crew, and of course a really big thank you to our driver who took us on 5 days of sensational driving, fast, safe, really great.
In the classic competition, another heartbreak was developing for Bill Pye. After being reinstated to the lead of the class, it seemed nothing could take away this year's Targa, until on the second last stage of the day, with a lead of more than 2 minutes, his Porsche just stopped going. That opened the door for day 5 specialist Ian Morris in an 81 Alfa Romeo GTV6 to steal an unlikely victory. In the 3 Targas prior, the pair had finished 3rd twice and crashed a second off the lead in 2003. This win they deserve.
We've been trying to do it for the last 5 or 6 years and had 2 third places, and now we've got 1st place, and we're absolutely ecstatic. It's fabulous.
Stephen and Terry Bruce blitzed the field in the classic sprint competition, a start-to-finish win in their Mini Cooper. Simon Froud took 2nd, with James Powell Davies running 3rd. John Lawson got to the finish line with no problems whatsoever, beating his nearest historic rivals by a massive 24 minutes. So I'll look at the Delta Hydraulics leaderboard now, and the top 10 in the DriveTravel.com modern category. Gentlemen Jim Richards and Barry Oliver 1st, Garwood 2nd, White 3rd. Then it was Longhurst, Kempnich, Rooklyn, Blackie and Tasmanian Lynn Rattray in 8th. Juniper and Freestone making out the top 10. Back at Rest Point, the party was just beginning. The traditional champagne bath for the winners marking what was the fastest and for most of the event, one of the closest on record.
We went for 2 years without actually getting a reasonable result, so the 8th one does feel better because, you know, the more that you win and then you miss out on a couple of years, the next one may not ever happen again, so you be thankful for what you get, but it's really good.